I go to churches, and you can see in your church probably, or maybe even here today, men that are lost, looking, what do I do? We don't cry in front of people. We show the Superman syndrome. We have our cape and our boots, and we're Superman. But deep down inside, we're hurting. We're afraid if we do not have that identity. Now, let me see if I have my notes here correctly. The Creator has determined this order by putting within children a desire to be significant in the eyes of their Father. Significance, acceptance, provisions. We look to our Father as a source. That's where it all is. I trust that at the end of this session, you can at least evaluate. And I'm not telling you to run out of here and go back and hug your dad, but I am telling you to learn the dynamics of this. Of you are a son of your Father, and what He did and what He did not do affects your marriage. It affects your spirituality. It affects your job. It affects the way you respond to life. What He did or He didn't do. And us as fathers, what we do or do not do with our children will affect them greatly. It will affect them greatly. My sons heard me a few years ago talking about marrying people, and I try not to marry people that don't get counseling, at least 6 sessions of premarital counseling, or that don't have their father's blessings. I stay away from those things. And that made such an impact in my sons that now every time we go to a wedding, they say, Dad, do you think they have God's blessing? Do they have your blessing? Would you marry these people? And they're nervous for the bride and the groom, just because of what I said, because I am their father, and that's where they're drawing all of that identity. Fathers have been endowed with authority to establish identity. When mom's around, it's okay, but something happens when dad walks in. It's just that strong, rugged man that, hey, it's my dad, and everything's going to be okay. I am told that when I was 3 years old, we lived out here in Aptos someplace in a little ranch, and we had ducks, and one day a duck died. And my sisters, my 4 older sisters, of course they were young girls at that time, one of them's kind of hilarious and always on the humor side. She wanted to do a funeral for the duck. And, you know, they had set up a program and everything, pallbearers and everything. And I didn't allow them. I don't remember this, but I didn't allow them because I said, don't bury him. Dad's coming home from work right now, and Dad'll fix it. That was my source there. My father can fix a dead duck. And we grow with these things. And if you don't have a father there, or if the relationship's not good, then we start growing with voids. Let me switch the overhead here. I told brother, Mike, I'm going to need another. I want you to see yourself as a son this morning. See yourself as a son. Because when you see yourself as a son, you see yourself then dependent on your father. I am the son of whoever your father is. When we become independent, we have great problems. That's why men's groups in churches are so important. You know, I hope they don't hear me over there, but we have given so much strength to the women's group. And we hear it in the pulpits. The women is a strong group. And women's days and women's camps and all this. I was telling the president the other day, when are we going to have a men's camp? Because it is the man that is the leader. And so men become independent of their group, and they need or don't need. And you know what? When you become independent of your local church men's group, you are in trouble. That's when you're going to have problems. And in order to cut that independence off, we need to look at ourselves as the son, as a son. I am a son dependent on my father. We all have a little boy in us. And you look around your neighbors and your friends at work, there's a bunch of little boys. The only difference is that the price of the toys has changed. It used to be $7 for a tractor or $3 for a Hot Wheel. Now it's $5,000 for a jet ski, or $30,000 for a motorhome, or $15,000 for a boat. But men are searching for their identity in boats. You ever see even men in church play basketball? There's just something about a man that, I'm going to win. And he gets his identity from other places than from being a son and from having a father. From his source and power significance comes from the father, from his father. And so you look around your neighbors, look around your friends. It's weekend camping trips, and it's going to the river, and it's flying there. Nothing wrong with that. I love to jet ski myself. Nothing wrong with that. However, if that's the identity, if that's where they draw their source and their power and their significance on how much money they're making or their salary, then we have a generation that is lost and knows nothing about true identity. Before we find our identity, we need to see ourselves as sons. This will bring a great freedom. Take 10 seconds and look at yourself as a son right now. Just think of your father and think of yourself as a son. And look at that protection, look at that identity. That's where we draw our resources. Identity is found by facing the relationship with our Father and working through it and understanding the dynamics and how they impacted us. You see, you as a father, how many fathers are here? Raise your hand, please, if you're a father. You as a father cannot have vision for fathering if your father didn't give you a vision for fathering. What happened to us? We just grew up, got a job, and got married. Anybody here go to school to take 4 years of how to be a husband? 4 years of how to be a father? Fathering 101? Husband 101? 102? Did you ever take a class? We just grow. Okay, mijo, you got a mustache. You got to get married soon, and you're working out. Let's go. Mom and I are, and we get married, and we don't face these things. We don't understand this freedom. And our fathers, how many of your fathers sat you down and gave you a vision for fathering when you were 13, 14, 17 years old? No, we just started having babies. And then we just started making the same mistakes our fathers made with us. Where's dad? He's working. Why? To buy more toys? He's still looking for his identity. He still thinks that, being strong on the job and what is it? I may not be a good father, but at least I put a roof over your head and food on the table. Welfare can do that. The Salvation Army can do that. It's not a tile roof and it's not a steak dinner, but they can do that. And we've got to go beyond the point in the church that we have vision for fathering. And our fathers didn't give us that. It just didn't come. We just, in Spanish, que Dios te ayude, mijo. And just go for it and go and see what happens. So then one generation after one generation of lost boys. And then when we don't find it in the job, we find it in drinking, we find it in drugs, we find it in women, find it in so many other places, and it just works. You don't know how to father, and neither do I. You may want to, but you don't know how. Nobody taught us how to do that. What do? You have kids, and what do? Feed them, water them, and watch them grow. That's all. Ask yourself this. Do you have a vision for your family? If I was to go to your wife and say, sister, what is brother so-and-so's vision for your family? If I was to go to your son and say, what is your father's vision for your family? Where is his family going? 99% of our wives would say, huh? And our children would say, no, my dad. Where's your dad? Working. Where's your dad? Traveling. Where's your dad? Preaching. Where's your dad? There's no vision for fathering. So then we disconnect from one generation to the next, and we lose them all.